Please let me go. Oh Lord, no, no, no. It's my life. Yeah, the only one that I'll ever know, and it stressed me so. God bless me so. Oh Lord. Whether it's projects, a trailer park mess, raggedy apartment complex, with a stressed out single mom sitting on the step, waiting on the mailman, looking for a check. Boys on the corner pushing out the jazz, questing for anything that resemble respect. Young girls swinging their hip with every step, looking for affection, settling for sex. Bodies decorated with tattoos and chains, trying to put armor between you and pain. Wood grain steering wheel, the bass bang, not enough to drown out the hatred in your brain. The only out is smoking out. Get lean, get wet, get mad, get torn down. Cause who the hell would wanna stick around? Put me in a haze, I ain't never coming out. Now, it's my life. Yeah, the only one that I'll ever know. Feeling extra low, please let me go. Oh Lord, no.
That's a great question, man. I think that one thing that's important that I believe is that we can't always be looking to the past for what they did and thinking that we can like resurrect something identical from the past and apply it to now, because it's a different world that we live in. And those past things that were created were man-made things that had their flaws. So just saying, well, I believe in socialism. It's like, well, whose socialism are we talking about? All of them had flaws, you know what I mean? Or like, I believe in capitalism. Well, what version of capitalism are we talking about? To what extent? To what extreme? I think that we need to be thinking creatively and thinking realistically with our eyes focused on where are we at right now. You know what I mean? Because we cannot just resurrect some old idea and think that it's going to be work now, because nothing's been perfect in the past. It's a constantly evolving kind of thing. I think that the first and foremost, we should the main thing for the common person, I think, to realize is that we're being sold this idea that there's not enough. The people at the very top are hoarding everything for themselves, whether it's financial resources or natural resources, space, land, all of these things. They're holding a lot at the top for themselves, and they're leaving us a little sliver of what exists in the world. And then they convince us that that's all that there is. They call it the myth of scarcity, that like there's not enough. There's not enough clean water for everybody. There's not enough money for everybody. There's not enough food for everybody. So y'all should be fighting each other. And they make us fight over the scraps that they leave us, instead of wondering, well, who decided that y'all get the majority of it? You know what I mean? If somebody walks in a room and there's pizza, there's 10 people in the room and there's 10 slices of pizza. Well, 2 of the people decide that they're going to share 5 of the slices for themselves, and then say, look, there's only 5 slices of pizza and there's 8 of y'all, so you better get to scrapping over those. You know what I mean? And the people that never saw them take the other half of the pie, they start fighting over like, well, there's not enough, so we're kicking and we're fighting each other. And the reality is that if we start with that premise, that there is enough for everybody to have the basic level of what they need, maybe we need to re-question what we really need. Because another thing is that another part of this or element of this is that we've been convinced that we need shit that we don't really need. You know what I mean? They created a world where you need a laptop, you need a BlackBerry, you need a iPad, you need a TV, but that's the world they created. Do I really need those things? They created a world where everybody needs their own television. Does I really need that? We created a world where we need, sneakers that cost somebody $2 to make, but we pay $300 for them. Do I really need that? That's the other element of that. We need to question ourselves. Where do our desires come from? These false desires that we have. Those were put into us by people who wanted to keep us in this kind of situation. And I got it too. You know what I mean? I'm wearing a very exclusive pair of kicks right now. They were a gift, but I still am pretty proud of them. We all have to work this shit out, but that's where we need to start. The idea that there is enough for everybody, as long as we work in ourselves about what's really needed. And we're going to have to approach this problem in that way, that we're going to have to come to really, really work together across all of these lines to disrupt the world as it is. Because the people who are in power are not ever going to just give some back. The people who have everything are not just going to give some of it back. I'm sorry, but being polite is not going to get it. Just being, just voting, that's not going to do it. We'd have to physically put our hands on some shit. And I'm watched, and I have a Department of Homeland Security file, and I'm talking about nonviolent action. I absolutely don't believe that violence is the key or the answer to this stuff. People that are violent, I think that they're actually hurting the cause. But nobody's being violent right now. Occupy is not being violent. None of these people on our side are being violent, but I would say that any kind of violence is going to hurt things more than it would help. But I do absolutely believe in physically disrupting what's going on, and that's what we're doing in Occupy Homes. You know what I mean? And that's what I went to jail for doing, and I continue to do that. But I think that we're going to need to demand these things, and demand them with the power of our togetherness. The people on the top have all the money in the world, they have all the influence in the world, they own the politicians, they own all this stuff. What we have is our physical bodies, and that only means something if we all use them together.
People ain't eating, they say the reason. Resources depleted for the defense. I'm offended by it.
I think Obama's been great on so many different levels. I think he's been great on a lot of different levels. And not necessarily by the things that he's done. Not because he's been perfect, you know what I mean? I think that when Obama came out, I campaigned for him. I knocked on doors, I got on the phone, I did all kind of stuff. Because he had the right message at that time. And he came from a background that resonates with me in organizing communities. I read his autobiography, and he's quoting Malcolm X and all this stuff. And and he was black. I don't think there's anything wrong. A lot of people are like, well, I didn't just vote for him because he's black. That's a big part of what I loved about him, and there's nothing wrong with that. What the fuck's wrong with that? What's wrong with being like, yes, we have a black president, and I'm proud of that. Everybody should be proud of that. You know what I mean? But we've seen now that we sent the most brilliant candidate with the best pedigree to help people and put him in the most powerful seat. And he has not been able to make the changes that we sent him there for. I campaigned for somebody that was going to end the wars. He started wars in other places, and made a big deal about the fact that he killed a war criminal from years ago, or you know what I mean, this guy that's like the poster child for terrorism from fucking 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I'm not jumping up and down like, you got Bin Laden, kill poverty, you know what I'm saying, kill unemployment, kill the inequalities in our country. Then I'll be impressed. So we sent the most intelligent, brightest, powerful dude to the most powerful office, and either he was unwilling, unable, the system's maybe too corrupt, maybe the right wing and the racism and their propaganda machine is too powerful. Who knows? But he wasn't able to do the things that I worked for and sent him there for. So I think that that's the biggest example that we're ever going to get, that the people working together are going to have to demand stuff, and actual going into, not only in the streets, like we're gonna have to go in the streets, but we're gonna have to go in and combine our forces and target power. We're gonna have to put them back in the hot seat again. And nobody that we send to any office is gonna do it for us. There are people that do a good job. Keith Ellison does a great job. Kucinich, Dennis Kucinich. There are people that do really cool things and that work hard. But without the support in the street, without the support of the people, we can't expect them to do very much, because they're alone with the few cool things that they're doing. So regardless of who we vote for, regardless of who gets in office, we're going to have to be active. We're going to have to really do something serious.
And I am somebody, and we am, and she am, and he am, and I am.
It was huge because this is my first straight up political record. And So working with Jake One, who, you know, works with 50 Cent and T.I. and Rick Ross and Jay-Z and Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa and all that kind of stuff, was important because I knew that I was going to be saying stuff that's not popular, that it probably was a bad commercial decision or financial decision or business decision maybe to make this kind of music. Whereas my fans are used to, even if I'm saying something, I've always said it in a way that's very, it's never been very challenging. It's been very inviting. I've always kind of believed in inviting people to look at life from a different point of view. And in this one, I'm demanding it, you know. And people don't like that, you know, and I know that. I didn't do that to make friends. I did that to ask people to be their very best. And in a way that they haven't been trained, that we haven't been trained to do. And so I wanted to have music that goes with it that was appealing or that was dope or that, you know what I mean? Not that Ant's music is beautiful. He makes music that there's never been rap songs that sound like some of the songs that he's made. But you know, I wanted to have music that had that hard backbone that I could be aggressive with, and you know, but that was huge. That was really, really very important. And Jake was really, really great to do that because there's not a lot for him financially in it either. You know, we took care of him and stuff, but not like what he's used to. He'll get the same amount of money for selling 1 or 2 beats to somebody, you know, big, that he probably made for my whole album. The other thing is that Jake doesn't care what I'm saying. He just wants the music to sound good. So he's like, yeah, say whatever you want, because I already know you got that part. I know you think about your content so much. I know you're going to be good with that. But he's concerned with, is my voice right on that music? Is the flow right? You know, there's plenty of times where he would send me specific things. Too many words in that line, man. You know what I'm saying? You get off a little bit. Or sometimes I'll be too far behind the beat. And he'd be like, man, you're overcompensating for being... Because, you know, like a lot of times white cats are too ahead of the beat, whether it's dancing or rapping or whatever. They're rushing, you know what I mean? And so he'd be like, man, you are too far behind the beat. Like there's times where he grabbed my vocals in Pro Tools and moved them forward. Because he's like, you're too far behind, man. Like, you know, stay on the one, you know. So that's he contributed a lot in that way too. Like, just does it sound good? Does it feel right? Does it feel like rap? You know. So that was really instrumental and important. Yeah. It's a story of friendship. I think if anything, that we're in a time where we're getting a wake-up call. That the old ways of viewing the world aren't serving us anymore. The worldview that divides us against each other, common people against each other, and keeps certain of us a little bit higher than others, and really relying and depending on that, and that being our whole identity. You know what I mean? That like, yeah, I'm poor and fucked up, but at least I'm not a Mexican. You know what I mean? At least I'm not a welfare mom. At least I'm not a, you know, all these coded language. You know, at least I'm not gay. You know what I mean? All of this stuff is failing us. We're dying based on that. All of us, our whole society. And this is our chance to really be human again. This is our chance to view the world through human lenses again. You know, when we buy that idea of being middle class, being white, being Christian, being straight, being whatever, instead of being a human being, we lose our connection to our own humanity, which is our most precious thing. You know, to look at somebody else and not care about the fact that they're human and just let them suffer and die and go to jail and get hooked on drugs and what, you know what I'm saying, and die of AIDS or whatever it is. To not care about somebody else being human and not think that means we should be riding for them means that we don't believe in our own humanity anymore. And we're fucked up behind that. Badly. We don't realize it, but this is that wake-up call time. And so that's what I would hope that I could do with the music. This is Brother Ali, and you're watching Out the Box TV. You made a good choice by doing so. Stay right here. Click on the good shit. Don't go nowhere else. Peace.
You were right there near me. Only reason I ain't laid up in some cemetery is when I wasn't feared. Someone cared enough to hear me. And anything that I do in this life of mine, from this point is part you for the gifts you provide. Only way to repay you is live right and shine. Trust me when I tell you, you're still on my mind.
Wherever you go.